Welcome back, guys. We
Back
got a great episode today. Going to be diving into another deal analysis.
This one,
Dave, I'll let you fire it away.
thank you. This is off market, so no address. We're seeing a lot more of that side note here. A lot of stuff where a lot of it is off market or heavy CAs, NDAs to sign.
Why is that, Dave? Off market, like NDAs, CAs, we get it, but why off market?
I think it just goes in different flavors of the month. It's hard to articulate exactly why. I personally right now would be putting stuff on MLS. I think there's a shortage of inventory, but buyer sentiment sometimes is so hot it's got to be off market, which is always funny. You should, just a side note, if you're an investor, don't limit yourself. See it all, right? But it seems to be sort of flavors of the month.
Yeah.
I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah. I think it wildly depends on the asset class, location, et cetera, right? If you have a beautiful AAA building downtown Toronto, and it's priced reasonable, I think you can gather a fair bit of interest off market.
Agreed.
You can control who's viewing the listing, the quality of the groups that are viewing the listing. What everybody needs to understand right now is biggest concern in this market is a deal not transacting, right?
Sure.
Going into due diligence and not transacting. If that happens, that deal is as good as dead. You're sitting there for another few months and then go back to market because it's not like you can bring it right back. People aren't that aggressive right now. What's wrong with it? Why didn't they close on it? That's obviously not where it should sell then, right? And everything starts changing. This happened to me, a quick little story, right? So we had a building go to firm up, buyers come back, ask for a egregious price reduction. So prior to accepting their price reduction or even working with them, I went back and called everybody who was originally interested in that building. Everybody came back to me almost $1 million less than their original offer. So I was sitting there going, well, that's it. Like, we have to work with these guys and do the price reduction, because if we don't, my building is now worth $1 million less.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the risk we run with buyers you're not familiar with, or unqualified, or tire kickers, whatever you want to call them. So that's a really good reason. The other reason I hear a lot is I want to put it out there, but if it doesn't sell, I don't want it to be public knowledge, right? So that's, I think, a bigger one. Like the control over who's seeing it is very important, but I think the biggest one that we hear most, or why sellers don't want to do that, is just, it's a double-edged sword, right? You get maximum exposure, but you get maximum exposure.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't sell, now when you go get that appraisal in the future, they're going to say, well, Mr. Seller, it didn't sell, 6 months ago when you had it up for 2.5. Why is it worth 2.5? It's actually worth less. And so it can kind of come back to bite you that way.
Those are great. Those are both really valid points. I mean, how many deals, remember the $3 million deal gets under contract, falls apart, goes from 3 something down to, I think it was 2.8, then that deal falls apart. This isn't even our listing. Then I think it's $2 million now, from high threes or mid threes, I think it was.
It's $1 million less.
$1 million less.
That seems to be the magic number.
Yeah, it's substantial. So that's a great point.
Yeah, it's a very fickle market. You got to be careful, know what you're doing, right?
It is the plug. Sorry, I interrupted.
No,
I get excited. It is the plug for us, right? Like, now that the gravitation is again back towards off market, we see so much, right? And it is because our disciplined process, right? Like, as we take on new buyers, we work with them, we work with their team, we make sure they're in a position to truly get a deal done for their benefit, for our benefit, and for the benefit of the buyer. That's why we're specific to underwriting and data analysis. But because of that process, because of most of our deals do transact, we're a bit of a gravitational pull towards other agents getting off-market deals, sending it to the investments group.
It's everything, Dave. It's reputation, right? Like, you want to build a good reputation in the market. If you're bringing buyers that are not transacting or falling apart on every deal, and you do that multiple times with one agent, that guy's not sending you, or that girl's not sending you any information, period. And that goes to the buyers as well. Guys, get qualified. Please don't offer on a building if you don't know where your funds are going to come from, right? Or if you're not prepared to buy the building. I know there's a lot of people out there that like to tie buildings up and go raise capital. That drives me absolutely nuts.
Yeah, well, we've turned down potential clients, right? They want 100% loan to value deals. And again, I'm not knocking it. It's just not the model for us.
No.
We're specific. We're diligent to a successful process, and not having your own capital into a deal is not usually.
And I'm not knocking raising capital because I've done it. I'm sure you've done
I've
it.
done
We
it
just
too,
did a
yeah.
podcast talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Please don't take it that way. Raising capital is fantastic. Go out there. If you don't have money yourself, I'm not saying you can't buy a building. Please go buy a building. But you should be able to raise the capital prior to offering.
Oh, for sure.
And if your investor is saying, no, I need to see it under contract first, he's not ready or she's not ready to invest.
Like you think, are you going, if you can't raise the capital in 6 months without a deal, you think you're going to raise the capital in 30 days when you have a deal under contract?
There's this notion floating around. I'm sorry, I'm getting
No,
getting fired up
This
now.
is good.
There's a notion going around, and I hear it all the time where they're saying like, oh, I have investors. They just won't invest unless, or they won't dedicate capital to my deal unless I have it under contract. And it's like, in what world, right? Like we even get that in the institutional world when it comes to financing, right? And that's a little more nuanced, but a lot of people say, oh, well, I need it under contract before I can take it to the bank. Right, but if your bank hasn't even looked at it yet, we're doing this backwards.
We got guys that do raise capital, and they have it before, and they say, here's the metrics under which we will do a deal, right? We need X cap rate, we need this cash on cash, the strategy looks like this.
Yeah.
If we find a deal that looks like this, would you be interested in investing? Yes, great. They're ready to rock.
Yeah.
And then they just have to go and find and execute. So definitely.
I went down a little
point.
tangent.
I do really appreciate your insight on why this shift is going to off market. I think you nailed it. And it's the time right now for us to we have more inventory off market than it's what's showing. So speaking of,
all right, let's dive into a building.
8 unit. Okay, this is in Chatham. They're looking for 1.6, which price point I don't love. What's great about this deal, almost all 2 beds. Okay, so 7 of 8 units are 2 bed. There's one bed. All but 3 units are vacant. Okay. The units that are tenanted, our average is about, call it $730 a month.
Okay.
So very low for those 3. Okay.
And those guys aren't going anywhere.
I think it's safe to assume they're going nowhere.
Perfect. Yeah. So run your numbers with them there.
100%. Yep. Then we look at a little bit of a different strategy here. This is just picking the deal up. We're not going to CMHC. The reason we're not doing that is we have a gap to fill.
Yep.
So a couple different ways you're going to want to do that. One would just be bridge financing, which literally takes you when you buy it and bridges you. And that bridge is the time for you to tenant the units, renovate if needed, tenant the vacant units, and then go to CMHC. Okay?
Love it.
So what does that look like? So if you buy it for $1.3 million, we're not going to chat too much about cap rate because you're going to be negative at purchase. Okay. If we look at, we got to buy it, we got to deploy some money. Okay. So I put in $35,000 a unit. We could probably change that. Maybe we bring that up to, let's say 45.
Okay.
Inflation.
I feel like 45 would get you a good reno.
I think so. I think that's everything.
Right?
2 bed, floors, kitchens, everything. Okay. Then there's the most missed number of all time, which is the contingency or the carry cost, right? So, real world application, you buy it, it's day one, you now own it, and you're only bringing in, what was it, 750 times 3?
It's nothing.
Negligible, right? So what we end up doing is, not, there's better ways to do this, but this is a pretty good way to start it. Is you just look at, if you bought it using all CMHC's analysis and didn't tenant it, what's your negative burn for the year? Negative burn for the year is $100,000. Okay? So kind of work our way backwards. Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, how long do you think it would take for you to tenant these units? Reno and tenant.
Yep.
I just assume 6 months.
Yep.
Whatever they tell you times 2, right? People think they can do it. Because look, to renovate, if you have a good construction team, to actually reno these, they could pound those out very quickly, okay? Then to tenant. So let's say it takes 2 months to reno those vacant units. It gives you 4.
Yeah, and this is all part of due diligence, right? This is something 100%. That you're going to be diving into during due diligence to say, is the $100K enough contingency or carry cost, we should call it, to get this done and stabilized, right?
Yeah.
Can we lease it up in 6 months, Dave? Like, do you feel confident with that?
Well,
things taking a little longer now?
Here's the to your point during due diligence is really understanding what market rent is on the two beds, right? So people will say, hey, look, I want to tenant it reasonably quickly and not be at peak market. And let's say market's 1,600, so let's bring that down, right? And those two kind of correlate. So lower market rent, probably lower timeline to tenant them, right? So, again, this is a framework under which we build to figure out if a deal is even worth talking about. More than most is in a vacant style building like this, you have to have your contractors lined up. You have to make sure that you understand rental rates, right? What the cost is going to be.
Start your permit once you go firm and not closed yet, right? Can you time it? And permits are a bit one of those things. It's like it's not like they'll say, okay, apply today, you'll have it tomorrow, right? Like it takes time. Sometimes there's revisions, etc. So do your best to try to get the permit in, right? But don't wait till close and then go do your permit, because there's another 3 months.
Well, we are doing one right now where the buyer is actually adding a 2-bedroom unit to the basement.
Right.
And we structured the deal, really good sellers, really good agent on the sales side. We're bringing the buyers. We actually got enough time for them to get the permit, okay? It's in Guelph. So the city of Guelph said, well, we can't give you the permit because you don't own it. So what they said is get the full package and we'll reject it, but the rejection will be under one term, which is you don't own it. So the next day when you actually have title, have possession, well, then you resubmit and we'll grant it. Yep. And that was cool. So they've got contractors lined up, ready to go. The city's on board. Everything's been done.
Love it.
You could do that. So anyways, we're, call it $275,000 in capital between the construction and the carry. Okay. We are running under the model. Hold on. We just have to fix this for a moment. We carried forward some of these rents. So if we look at stabilized $275,000 in, we're leaving about $500,000 in the deal. So I don't actually like that number. And I'll show you what the error was here. We actually had those tenanted units were showing once we flip the switch, and actually those are tenanted at 1,600.
Got it.
So I actually don't like this at $1.3 million. It would probably be closer to $1 million. $1 million. I think I like it at $1 million.
Yeah.
So we're $600,000 away from what they want, and that's probably a far cry. So $1 million, $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And at $1.3 million with the, sorry, I think you answered this, but at $1.3 million with those 3 tenants not turned over.
Yep.
How much capital to do the deal?
So here's $1.3 million, which I don't like buying it at this price.
Yeah.
We are looking at 375 plus 275. So
okay,
7. Let's just say $700,000.
And you said,
and you're putting in 700.
Yep.
And by the time you're finished, you're only stripping back out 200. Not great.
No,
we don't love that.
No.
If we go backwards to $1 million as a purchase, we're looking at capital to do the deal. That's 3. Call it 6. So you're deploying 6, and you're pulling back out 400.
Perfect.
That's a good deal.
Right. I don't like, listen, if you can pull out 100% of your money, amazing. That's a great deal, right? We love to see that happen. But at the same time, I think it's reasonable to say, hey, I'm going to have $100K, a couple $100K left in the deal. I got a fully stabilized building that I know what's going on. I did all the renos myself. Hold it. You got good big cash flow, I'm assuming, on stabilization
big
there.
Cash flow. And the other thing too, like what I don't do in this model is run a reduction in utilities, even though that is definitely going to happen because you're going to meter all of the vacant units. So if we can meter it for water, meter it for hydro. So we're now, like right now with the deal as it is, our operating expense is 40% of rent. We could bring that down for sure to probably 32. So long-winded, but the idea would be we could probably get this to a level where we are either 120 left in the deal, or our cash flow is going to be, at least 15% cash on cash.
Yeah.
Pretty substantial.
That's solid.
Yeah. Yeah. So, here's the rub. we got to bring them from 1.6 million to 1 million. And that's why we do this sheet, because it's like, is that probably the best use to focus, try to bring somebody down over $500,000 on a $1 million deal? Probably not.
Yep.
It's probably more beneficial to find something else where that gap is a little bit tighter.
Yeah, and this is a good example of, okay, we'll let it sit, and we'll come back to it in
100%.
2 months, 5 months, 8 months, right? And just keep hitting it. And I imagine that they would be doing a price reduction eventually if that didn't sell.
You got to think, if you're even just zooming out, you're going to buy an 8 unit in Chatham that needs some renovations.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not going to spend more than 130-ish, max 150. You're not spending 180, something like that, right? So.
And what's the going in dollar per door at the asking price?
Oh, that's a good question. Here, let me go back to 1.6 million. That would be, oh, we should have been able to do that. 200
a door.
200 a door.
Yeah.
So from 200 to 170, 125. Somewhere in that, again, I don't like doing just the metrics of a price per unit, but when we get into vacant units and stuff, it's a great.
And that's why I'm asking, right? Because if you think vacant building, this is in Chatham, you said?
Yeah.
Right? So 200 a door for a vacant building in Chatham, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. 200 is your takeout value.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. So
that's where the appraisal is going to come in when you.
So I have it at a 575 cap, taking those tenanted units, and we're at 175 a door. So you'd literally be at 200 a door.
That's your takeout.
Yeah.
So they're trying to sell it for what your on complete
that.
cost is, right?
Yeah.
So that's the challenge with this deal. So there's it's fundamentally the pricing issue here.
Yes.
Is this power sale, receivership?
No, but just an active owner who's willing to sell and a really strong agent at the other end. So I think the idea is we're dealing with a lot of deal makers. They can understand, hey, look, this isn't making sense. They test the market. Most of those people are still open to selling it. Mm-hmm. This guy's a little bit older and doesn't really want to take on the risk or the effort, and the risk to doing it.
To do the reno.
So
and that's a great example of, making an opportunity, right? So, I know a lot of people say, well, if it's been sitting on MLS for too long, it's not even worth my time. And it's like, well, I disagree heavily with that, because that's a huge strategy that I know you use.
Love it.
Is
60 plus days.
Yeah, you just keep waiting.
Yes.
Right?
Look, at some point you're sitting on the market, and if you do a good enough job as an agent, you can earmark the ones that truly need to sell and the ones that just test the market, and then you just focus on those.
And as a listing agent, I can tell you this right now. After something's been sitting on the market for 100 and something days, the best thing that can happen is somebody just calls you and says, hey, I'm ready to offer. And it's
we do this call all the time. Is I phone and say, hey, look, we're interested. I've got a really qualified buyer group, but they're not interested at $1.6 million. And I'm getting very direct. You laugh at me now. I'm like, they're at $1 million. Are you interested? Yes or no? No. Okay. Do you think they would be in the future? Do you want me to call you in a month or two? Yes or no?
Yeah.
No, they're off my list. Yes. But right now, most people are saying, I don't think they'll take $1 million, but you know what? Put it on paper.
Yeah.
Put it on paper. Good. We want that. So
yeah.
It's great. So
Right
more deals like this out there, which is awesome. I think things are quite busy for the summer, which is great, and we're excited. So
no, it's very good, and it's like I think we talked about in a previous podcast, but there is a lot of opportunity. I don't think people are going to be taking the summer break they normally would.
No,
right?
We're not.
No, and we're just going to keep hammering away here. So. As always, guys, I guess we'll wrap it up.
Yep.
If you have any questions, you want to connect, throw a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. Join the REI Hot Seat Insiders list. You'll be first up on the list to get these listings. So, for example, if this did work, this would be something that Dave would be sending directly to you if you were on that list. I've also sent out, I think, 4 now listings in the last few weeks to the insiders list, and we've had great traction. So we want to see some more people get on there. Click the bell if you want to get notified when new episodes come out, and we'll see you next week.